I've been focusing on passive VR devices for a while now. My current pair of VR shoes are passive, meaning they don't have motors in them, and they're also not omnidirectional, so I can't strafe. And even with slide mills, passive VR locomotion devices that utilize a slippery bowl, I don't recall seeing anyone in a video actually strafing. Not the pseudo-strafing that the Catwalk C2 supports, I mean real strafing. If any of you know a video that shows somebody actually strafing on a slide mill and doing it well, let me know. So I wonder if there's a way to make a passive VR locomotion device that handles full omnidirectional movement well, and that also feels stable. I think a device like this would have to either utilize Omni wheels or a slippery surface, and I've been pursuing both of these. I'll talk about Omni wheels in a future video. In this video, I'll go over how I made a simple slippery surface, like what slide mills have, but in some ways, I think better than what slide mills have. It's hard to run with these sliders on. They're pretty slippery. That's not too bad. Nah, I can't really do it very well. And if you do this. So to make the slippery surface, I tried out a variety of different materials to make the surface that you walk on out of. I tried different types of shoes and I tried different types of lubricants. The surface materials were acrylic, a few types of wood, HDPE, UHMW, and a metal sheet. The lubricants were silicone spray, heavy grease, a few types of furniture polish, sex lube, vegetable oil, both liquid and spray, pet hair detangler, and dish soap with and without water added. I tried out several pairs of shoes. I found the pair that worked the best was an older pair where the bottoms were smoothed out in several places from years of wearing them. I ordered silicone pads and made this slider, which has one of the pads on the bottom as well as a row of wheels. The row of wheels is there to try to keep the slider going in a relatively straight line to provide more stability. But as you saw, it actually turned out to be the worst of the three options that I demoed. It's still pretty slippery and I think it could use improvement, but I still liked barefoot or my old worn out shoes more than this. So what worked the best was acrylic as the floor material, lube or dish soap as the lubricant, and worn shoes, barefoot, or silicone pads as the shoe foot material. I should also note that a long time ago I tried carpet sliders on carpet and socks on various materials, but found that just had too much friction. You're probably wondering how it feels to walk with this kind of setup. It does not feel nearly as good as using my regular VR shoes. The slide mill felt much more stable than my VR shoes. Slide mill was much more tiring to use and my ankles felt like they got a little bit of a workout after using it for about 15 minutes. It was still fun to play around with. It's neat to have such a simple setup for walking in VR. It was fun trying to do some strafing, even though it was awkward. And the slide mill was quieter than I remember the Virtuix Omni being, and I think it seems quieter than other slide mills I've heard in videos, like the Catwalk C. Anyway, you may think this is kind of a messy setup. I've been using dish soap for most of the testing I've been doing, and I found the first time I had to apply a relatively large amount, But then after that, if it was only a day or two later, I could just let the soap dry and then spray it with some water and it would come right back. But then I found if I waited maybe a week, I would have to clean off the old soap and then apply new soap again. But soap is cheap. I found that the messiness is contained to the acrylic sheet, and it's easy and quick to just take a towel and wipe my feet or my shoes off whenever I'm done using the rig. So I think this kind of slide mill setup could be made pretty cheaply. I'll be making a do-it-yourself guide for others who want to build this. I'll make the setup a little better and then make a guide for it. It's not the setup that I prefer. I still like the VR shoes more, but I think it's a good setup to have to compare it with my other devices, and I think others would like to have a cheap, simple slide mill that can be put together. I'll share updates on this once I get around to it. So, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. It's for the treadmill.